for those of you who are not in the travel technology or catch up on travel technology, Philip is the main guru of travel technology since the 80s. 89. Since the founding of the Independent Travel Technology Association, where myself, Philip, and the gang sat in a room after the Travel Weekly
Focus on
Automation conference, and so here we are today. Welcome, Philip.
Thank you, Charles. You're dating me, however.
Myself too.
Yeah.
What was your first job in travel?
I ran a travel agency. A lot of people don't believe that, but it's true. 1989, May. Apollo from Covia, United Airlines rep.
Blue screen.
Pillow colon Sim. Some funny stories about that, though.
Well,
second day on the job, United rep comes in, wants a report from me so she can pay the override. It came from manufacturing. And I asked Julie, don't you have the report? We use your system. No, we really can't do that. So I went home and told my wife, this is a screwy industry.
And that's when you got into the technology, I think. But my second question is, what would you call your high point of your career?
Early on, I didn't like travel and I quit that job. I thought the CEO was a bit of a jerk. And I did what many people said is bad form. I went around the CEO and talked to the board of directors, told them why I left. High point, 9 months later I get a call from Amsterdam. Alfred Nykirk, one of the investors on the board, invited me to return to Travelmation as a young president and CEO. I actually debated. That was my stupidity back then, and I accepted. The rest has been history.
And what was the low point?
We sold in 1992, and I reported to Hal Rosenbluth for 2 years.
Sorry, I'm shaking with laughing. Well,
that was my least favorite 2 years in my travel career since from 1989 to today.
Well, you were always your own person, so I can understand. And what's your biggest regret?
I started PhoCusWright in '94 pre-web, dedicated to the revolution of the impact of technology on the travel industry. And we had a lot of fun for years and years in the beginning. And it wasn't until after 9/11, when our PhoCusWright was about destroyed, that we started to implement rigorous financial systems and metrics. And I wish, my biggest regret is I implemented systems, better management systems at PhoCusWright earlier. The company could have had an even bigger growth trajectory. I'm not complaining. We've got a good global brand, but my biggest regret is I waited until 9/11 kind of shook me to run it with a lot more rigor and discipline.
Shook you or scared you?
Yes.
Scared you too.
You could probably throw in about 6 or 7. We went, Charles, 48 days after 9/11 without any business transaction. It was like a morgue.
And what would you be doing now if you were not in travel technology?
Something in manufacturing. I'm a schizophrenic guy. I was born and raised in a machine shop in the Bronx. I'm very handy. Wood, metal, electricity, fixing things, and I still love to do it. One of my favorite pastimes is getting lost down in my workshop. And I think if I didn't have that serendipitous landing into travel and technology, I'm sure technology still, but maybe more in manufacturing. But it's, who knows? Can't say.
For our audience that's not familiar with PhoCusWright, it's the preeminent travel technology conference organizer. It does consulting, but I think today probably the studies and the surveys and the reports you do is
that dominates now.
Dominates
So you might not
the
realize.
business.
It's a global travel, tourism, and hospitality research company. That's most of our revenue, and we have 38 full-time employees around the world, 4 in India, 1 in South America. In Europe, we have both research analysts and salespeople. So that's the core of the brand. That's what enables us to have a big conference, is the credibility and respect of the brand, and the CEOs know Phocuswright, and then we know how to ask questions and not let go without.
Those are great conferences. That's like, for those who don't know, every year,
gold standard.
the who's of the travel technology industry gathered, sold out, so you've got to book early. What are you most pleased about this past 12 months?
We bet the farm a couple of years ago on the growth in India. And we've had double success of, now we have 4 employees in India, and how much they've grown. All of them we authorized and sponsored their first trip to the United States. And individually, I sit on the board of directors of MakeMyTrip.com, the largest OTA in India. We went public last year on NASDAQ. It was the most successful opening day on NASDAQ since 2007. And I've been part of that company since 2005. So a lot of successes and subsequent pride around our early investment in India and all the good things that have happened.
What did not work out so well the last 12 months?
The biggest failure was a new trade show we launched in Atlanta, this in 2009, called Travdex.
Oh.
And we were committed to having a classic trade show around travel technology of all types. There's a lot of technology trade shows that has some travel stuff, but no one big place just for global travel technology solutions. The late 2008-09 recession, Madoff, AIG, Lehman Brothers, we'd signed all the contracts. I suppose we could have gotten out of them, but I said forge ahead, full steam, and I ran into a buzzsaw.
And what's lined up for the next 12 months we should be looking out for?
We just launched a pioneering research study on the Latin American travel marketplace and the impact of technology. And now in the hopper is Russia and Eastern Europe. Really exciting, 2 big projects for us.
Lately, well, since December, I presume all this started in the back room before then, there's been this now quite public battle between American Airlines with Travelport, the owners of the Galileo airline reservation system, and of course Travelport also being the controlling shareholder of Orbitz, so American Airline cuts off their flights on Orbitz. 2 days ago on CNN, I saw an American Airlines ad talking about Orbitz or online travel agencies. I didn't know what it was talking about. It ended with saying, well, you can't book it on Orbitz, so come to American Airlines and book it direct. Where do you think all of this is going? Is this just positioning? And then I don't hear anything from the other airlines or the GDS, except Expedia, of course, jumped in and then to help a little bit and jumped out.
I'm interviewing Darak Harshahari tomorrow at the WTTC Summit, CEO of Expedia, so I'll definitely ask him about it. Look, first of all, this is a U.S. domestic issue primarily. The fight between Expedia, Travelport, and American Airlines, because it doesn't necessarily extrapolate around the world. And we use the arm wrestle as an analogy. And the GDS airline OTA is like an arm wrestle, and it's quivering somewhere in between. Technology's improving. And so suppliers, look, always want to be closer to the customer and lower distribution costs. That's never changed. What's changed are the empowering technologies in the marketplace today give airlines both the confidence and the ability to execute on that long desire of being closer to customers and lowering the distribution costs. The flip side is, and then we have these things called ancillary services where airlines are becoming merchandisers.
Right.
The center seat is a different product. Checking bag is a product. Buying extra weight is a product. Meals are a product. A day pass at the airline lounge at the airport is a product. So GDSs and OTAs, to continue to be good intermediaries, have to develop pass-through technologies and APIs and interconnects so all this new merchandising becomes available to consumers on the website.
Are they going to go to trial on this, or are they going to settle, you think?
I think neither. I just think it's ongoing, healthy competition. Look, airlines want more direct connects. They want OTAs to bypass GDSs and connect directly to the airline systems. They want corporations to bypass everybody and direct. So stay tuned. There's a little bit of deja vu in this. The ability for what I meant by that was the ability for a carrier to exert that much muscle is far greater when you have a concentrated marketplace. So, for example, American wasn't that forceful on its international strategy. American needs distribution more for its international legs, and that's
because whatever American wins, being the sole one out there with shooting the first cannon, it's sort of like Delta when they first cut the travel agent commission. Everybody else jumped in the bandwagon. So whatever American comes out of this, it's going to affect everybody else now.
I remember Delta, an article in a magazine in 1995, a travel agency protest. They had the sign Delta up vertically, and it stood for Delta evidently loathes travel agents. 1995, I still remember that article.